The room was drowning in power, wealth, and danger. Crystal chandeliers glowed like frozen lightning above a long marble table, reflecting off glasses filled with expensive whiskey. The air was thick, not just with cigar smoke, but with tension. Every man seated there carried a reputation that could end lives with a whisper. At the head of the table sat him, the Mafia Boss. No one dared say his name unless spoken to. His presence alone was enough. Calm. Controlled. Watching everything. Nothing escaped him. Nothing, except what was about to happen. The doors opened quietly, almost respectfully, and she walked in. No one knew her name. She wasn't supposed to matter. Just a server. Just another invisible person moving through dangerous men with lowered eyes and steady hands. She carried a tray of drinks, her posture perfect, her expression carefully blank. But inside? Chaos. Her heart hammered so loudly she was sure someone could hear it. Every step felt like walking across thin ice. One mistake, one wrong move, and she wouldn't leave this room alive. She had seen too much. He had made sure of that. A man sitting halfway down the table, the one with the gold ring and cold smile, watched her like a predator watching prey. He leaned back in his chair, smirking slightly. He knew. Or at least, he suspected. She placed the glasses one by one, her hands steady despite the storm inside her chest. Her eyes never lifted. Until. Just for a second. She looked at the Mafia Boss. It was brief. Almost invisible. But something in that glance lingered. He didn't react. Didn't move. But his eyes shifted, just slightly. And that's when it happened. The signal. It was so small, so subtle, no one else noticed. As she set the final glass in front of him, her fingers trembled, not in fear, but in intention. Her thumb brushed the edge of the table twice, paused, then once more. A pattern. Not random. Deliberate. A plea. Her breath caught as she stepped back. Had he seen it? Or had she just signed her own death sentence for nothing? The man with the gold ring suddenly spoke. Something wrong? He asked, his voice smooth but sharp underneath. The entire room went still. She froze. Every instinct screamed at her to stay quiet. Invisible. Safe. But his eyes were locked on her now. And they weren't kind. No, sir, she said softly, lowering her gaze. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Good, he said. Because mistakes here are expensive. A few men chuckled. But not the Mafia Boss. He hadn't touched his drink. Hadn't spoken. He was thinking. Then, slowly, he lifted the glass, but instead of drinking, he rotated it slightly, examining the rim. And then. Tap. Tap, pause, tap. The same pattern. The girl's breath stopped. He had seen it. The room carried on, unaware. Deals were discussed. Numbers exchanged. Threats disguised as agreements. But under the surface, something had changed. The boss leaned back in his chair, eyes drifting casually across the room, until they landed on the man with the gold ring. And stayed there. For just a second too long. Something cold flickered in his gaze. Something dangerous. The meeting ended an hour later, but no one noticed the shift in the atmosphere, except her. As the men stood and began leaving, she moved quietly toward the exit, hoping to disappear before anyone remembered her existence. But a voice stopped her. Wait. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Everyone froze. The Mafia Boss stood up slowly, adjusting his cuffs. His eyes were on her. The entire room turned. Her stomach dropped. Come here, he said. No anger. No warmth. Just command. She stepped forward, each step heavier than the last. The man with the gold ring watched closely now, suspicion sharpening his features. She stopped a few feet away from the boss. "Look at me," he said. She hesitated. Then slowly, she did. For the first time, their eyes truly met. And in that moment, everything changed. Because what she saw in his eyes wasn't what she expected. It wasn't cruelty. It wasn't indifference. It was understanding. And something else. Something terrifying. He turned his head slightly, glancing at his men. "Clear the room." The reaction was immediate. Confusion. Hesitation. Shock. But no one questioned him. Chairs scraped. Footsteps echoed. Within seconds, the powerful men who controlled entire cities were walking out like obedient soldiers. All except one. The man with the gold ring. "Boss," he said carefully, "is that really necessary?" The boss didn't look at him. "Yes." One word. "Final." The man hesitated, then forced a smile. "Of course." He left. The door closed. Silence. Just the two of them. The girl's hands trembled now. The mask was breaking. "Please," she whispered. That was all she could manage. The boss stepped closer. Not threatening. Not gentle. Calculated. "You signaled me," he said quietly. It wasn't a question. She nodded, barely. "Why?" Her voice cracked. "Because I'm going to die." A pause. Then she added, barely audible. "And I think you know it." The boss studied her face for a long moment. Then he did something no one in that city had ever seen before. He smiled. Not kindly. Not cruelly. But knowingly. And what he said next would change everything. The smile faded as quickly as it came. But the tension it left behind? It filled the entire room. "You're right," the Mafia boss said calmly. Her heart dropped. He turned away from her, walking slowly toward the table, his fingers brushing against the polished surface as if lost in thought. "You are going to die," he continued. Her knees nearly gave out. Tears welled in her eyes, but she forced herself to stand still. "Unless," he added. Hope flickered. Small. Fragile. Dangerous. He turned back to face her. "You tell me everything." She didn't hesitate. "Because when death is certain, truth becomes easy." "They're planning to betray you," she said, her voice shaking but determined. "Tonight. After the shipment arrives." Silence. Not the kind that feels empty. The kind that feels like a storm about to explode. The boss didn't react immediately. He just watched her. "Who?" he asked finally. She swallowed. "The one with the gold ring, and two others. They've been meeting in secret. I heard them. They think you're getting soft." The word lingered in the air like an insult. Soft. The most dangerous accusation anyone could make about him. For a moment, nothing happened. Then he laughed. Low. Cold. Genuine. "Soft," he repeated. The girl flinched. But his laughter wasn't anger. It was worse. It was amusement. "They've been very busy behind my back," he said. Then he stepped closer again, his presence overwhelming. "And you?" he asked. "Why help me?" She hesitated. Then told the truth. "Because I was there when they talked about killing you, and I realized," her voice broke, "if they can betray you, they can kill anyone." That answer. interested him. He studied her again, deeper this time. As if weighing her soul. Then he nodded, once. Decision made. Stay behind me, he said. What? Before she could react, he moved toward the door and opened it. Send them back in. The guards hesitated, but obeyed. Within moments, the room filled again. The same men. The same power. But now, something was different. The boss returned to his seat, calm as ever. The girl stood behind him, confused and terrified. The man with the gold ring narrowed his eyes. What's going on? He asked. The boss picked up his glass, and tapped it. Tap. Tap, pause, tap. The man's expression flickered. Just for a second. But it was enough. The boss smiled slightly. Then said. Let's talk about loyalty. The room went cold. No one spoke. No one moved. And then. Everything unraveled. What followed wasn't chaos. It was precision. Truth exposed like a blade. Lies shattered. And betrayal, punished. By the time it was over, the room would never be the same again. And neither would she. Because the mafia boss didn't just save her life. He made her part of his world. A world where survival wasn't luck. It was earned.